Hi, this is Born in 62. I'm Henrik Jyrs. Today we're going to talk shoulders and I'll show you one of the classics, the lateral raise. The lateral raise is meant to attack or stimulate the lateral part of the deltoid, the middle part, visible here on top of it. Done right, it's the middle part you will engage. Done wrong, you'll engage the frontal part instead. When we raise our arms naturally, like we would do if we didn't think about doing any exercise, our hands tend to come up like this with the palms forward and a little bit upwards. And that is the wrong position for attacking the lateral head of the deltoid. You can see here I'm tilting, I'm rotating my upper arm backwards and thereby bringing the front delt into play. So what we need to do is rotate the arm like this, so the elbow is higher up than the hand. If you've ever been instructed in this in a gym anywhere, you've probably been told to pour water out of the kettle. Imagine you have a kettle in your hand, and as you raise the hand, you're pouring the water out. Actually, the hand position doesn't matter much. What matters is that you rotate your upper arm the right way to stimulate or attack, if you want, the lateral head of the deltoid. Another thing you gotta know about the deltoid is that it works a bit different than other muscles. Most muscles work over joint. The biceps, for instance, when it contracts, the tendon runs over a joint and moves my forearm. Thereby, a relatively small contraction here can move the forearm a great distance. The deltoid is not running over a joint, it's sitting on top of the joint. It's attached on both sides of the joint and sits like a capsule up on the joint. That demands a lot of the deltoid, and the fibers in the deltoid is arranged otherwise than in other muscles. It's a very long discussion, this one, but what you gotta know is the effect it has, that the fibers are working differently, is there's a very thin line between too heavy and not heavy enough. You can take a weight and do 20 repetitions, and then you move up just a slight bit, and suddenly you can't move the weight at all. It's not a linear progression between resistance and number of reps you can take, not as in the bench press or in a curl or anything like it. It's much different from that. So today I'll introduce a term, or several terms, one called textbook style, one called acceptable style, and one called an unacceptable style. So I'll show you the exercise done with 3 different weights, one that is too heavy, one that is heavy and needs a little bit of body momentum, which I will say is acceptable as long as I'm actually working the muscle. And then hopefully, if I have the strength to it, also show you the exercise done textbook style. So let's do it. Okay, first off I'll start with 15 kilo dumbbells. They are a bit heavy for me, and you can see that this is far from textbook style. But I'll show you to tell the difference between unacceptable form, swinging, acceptable form, and textbook form, hopefully. So we'll start with these. They're a bit heavy. And you can see, to gain momentum, I start with the weights in front of my body, leaning slightly forward. Already here, this is not textbook form. And I try to lift them. And it's apparent that they are a bit too heavy for me. I can lift them, but I have to use a lot of momentum, and I'm begin this Mr. Bean dance where I go back and forth like this. So I'll move on to 10 kilos. That is 15% lighter. If this means anything, I'll try to do it in as good form as possible. That wasn't textbook style, but it was an acceptable form. I could perform 15 solid reps. I used a little body momentum, but not that much that it destroyed anything. Now I'll go to the lighter weight. These are 7 kilos, and this should be a little better form-wise. Okay, hopefully you could see the difference between the exercise done with 3 different weights. If I hadn't talked to you between the sets, I would actually have showed you a method, an intensity method called the stripping method or the descending weight method. What I'm doing is I'm starting out with a heavy weight, do as many reps as I can with that weight, move on to a lighter weight and then another weight. That way you can tire out the muscle. Intensity techniques, which I'll get into in later videos, can be quite demanding, and you shouldn't perform them in all sets and all exercises, but choose wisely once in a while. But I'll get back to that in future videos. Hopefully you've been inspired to try out this classic and develop round, strong delts. See you next time. Hi.